pops up into left field. Kramer Eshte makes the play, and it's a quick 1 out for Texas A&M. So now Lassiter, the center fielder, will step in, the junior out of Atmore, Alabama, hitting .346. And Kennedy with a nice rise ball right there, quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. And that's sometimes where we see Kennedy getting in trouble, is when she gets behind in a count. She's got to work with quite a few balls in the count, but right now she's being very efficient. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. It's dropped by Coleman, but she does make the tag, and that is strikeout number 1 for Emily Kennedy on the night.
Chelsea, you were just talking about it. This is a really nice rise ball, 0-2. Gets Lassiter to chase up in the zone, but that's part of this with Emily Kennedy. The walks have been a little bit higher this season. You'd like to see her get back to that consistency of just commanding the zone. And I think, again, that performance against Georgia, 7 strikeouts. The big number there, though, was no walks.
Starts off quickly with a strike to Macy Bajaran, the catcher, and then comes on the outside part of the plate. So once again, quickly 0-2, and you can see Kennedy feeling like she is in rhythm right now.
That's when you know that she's working well, when she starts her pitch, when that pitch clock hits like 10.
Goes up in the zone on the 0-2, but just misses high as Bajaran was able to lay off the pitch. Bajaran having a monster year, huge improvement this season. Ground ball to the left side. No problem for Coco Woolley, and it is a 3-up, 3-down inning for Texas A&M. Out of Buffalo, New York. Burzon with a 1.94 ERA on the season, Donna. She's been really fantastic for Beth Torina and the Tigers.
Yeah, she has been so steady in the circle, and the Tigers are just able to lean on her a lot. Her maturity has showed, and you know, she's going to live in the high 60s. She's got a heavy drop ball to both sides. In fact, 64% of her pitches are in the down part of the zone. You also got to watch for that rise ball, though, and she'll mix speeds. She'll pepper in a changeup here and there, too.
Well, she's got a tough test as well with this lineup for Texas A&M, highlighted by Maya Perez hitting in the 3rd hole tonight. But it's going to get started with Kennedy Powell, who leads the team in several categories, and it was probably about 10 games ago or so that Texas A&M made the switch from Coco Woolley in the leadoff spot to Kennedy Powell, and Powell has done a really nice job of getting on base, doing exactly what you want a leadoff batter to do. Count is even now, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, Kennedy Powell, another one in this Aggie lineup that's been really consistent, especially getting on base. I also just think for Coco to move down to the 5 hole, it kind of opens up what she's able to do. She's got a lot of versatility, but when you have her up top, she's in less RBI situations. So I think it's helped tremendously for Coco to be able to stand in and hit more when she wants to.
Absolutely. 2-1 to Powell. She's going to take that one inside. So now a hitter's count. Powell leads the Aggies with 48 hits on the season. And in that leadoff position, she has reached base to start the game in 6 of the last 9 games. So she has done a really nice job of setting the tone. Pops this one up, shallow center field, and Lassiter will call everyone off and come in and make the catch. So a good first out there for LSU, just like A&M was able to do in their top half of the inning.
Chelsea, this one's going to be a battle, no doubt. This whole weekend, I just think you look at the crowd out here.
Her back in, she has been doing absolutely fantastic. She's on a 9-game hit streak. She's reached base safely in 14 straight games. And there she goes, number 15, as she is hit by a pitch, and she'll head down to first base. Aggies have a base runner.
Well, now I think head coach Beth Torina coming out of the LSU dugout, see if Amari was leaning. It doesn't look like it. That looks like that's over the chalk.
I agree. Definitely, worth at least having a conversation, right. Asking, because if a batter gets hit outside of the bat. Excellent for Texas A&M in her sophomore year, hitting .450. She's got a team-high 12 home runs on the season. tough part here for Burzon and LSU is you've got a runner on and you've got Mac Barbara on deck. It doesn't get much easier, so you want to be careful right here with Perez, but you don't want this inning to start turning into something bigger than is manageable.
Absolutely. Especially with Maya Perez, the way that she can hit to any part of the field with power, so you really can't leave anything over any part of the plate.
Burzon will get a called strike on the inside part of the plate there, makes the count 2-1. Burzon 15-2 on the season. This is her 17th start of the year. She has pitched the most innings on this LSU staff. And that's in there for a strike. So now quickly 2 balls, 2 strikes to Perez. Will have to battle with 2. Amari Harper at first for the Aggies after getting hit by a pitch. And there's the off speed from Burzon. Looked good but low. And that's going to be a full count to Perez.
That coming in at 56. That'll really, as a hitter, just again.
Graduate student Mac Barbara out of Long Beach, California. She'll take the first pitch for a strike. Barbara, the designated player in today's lineup, hitting in the 4 spot. Played most of her career at San Diego State, where she was Mountain West Player of the Year 2 times in 3 years out there on the West Coast. This one ripped into right field. Goodbye! Mac Barbara, and a great catch by Andy Garcia. And just like that, Texas A&M up 3-0.
Chelsea, that's exactly the type of power that you expect from the 3 and 4 in this Aggie lineup. Mac Barbara wasting no time. That pitch in her half of the plate. Mac keeps her hands in, drills that one, and former Aggie basketball player Anderson Garcia with the catch out there. Amari Harper would be very proud.
That might be the best catch we've seen by a non-player on the field all year.
Has to be.
Foul ball or home run. That was pretty incredible stuff there by Andy Garcia. So nice job. And you can keep that courtesy of the Dixie Chicken.
That's right.
So just like that, Texas A&M with a huge opening inning, and it's not over yet as Coco Woolley steps in with 1 out. Bases have been cleared by Mac Barbara's 6th home run of the season. And what a shot by Barbara. She's got to be happy there in the dugout. Woolley shows bunt and pulls back, keeps LSU's defense on their toes. Woolley just does an incredible job, senior year out of LaPorte, Texas, of really being a dynamic hitter. You mentioned when they moved her to the 5 spot, it really opens up some opportunities for Woolley.
Yeah, it makes the defense kind of have to second guess how you're going to play her. She can drop a bunt. She's got so much speed. She can slap, and she can stand in and hit. We've seen her do that quite a bit in this 5-hole with runners on base. So it just kind of has to make the defense second guess, okay, where are we going to position against Coco, knowing she's got speed and she can drive the ball.
Since moving into that 5th spot, she's hitting .400 with 7 RBI. And that is a beautiful pitch by Burzon right there. A little bit of a late call. Wasn't sure if she was going to get it, but gets the first K of the day on a beautiful off-speed pitch.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, though, with that off-speed. That can just lock you up if you're not ready.
So 2 outs. Burzon trying to get out of the inning without any more damage done by this Texas A&M offense. Allie Enright, the center fielder, steps in for Texas A&M. First pitch off the plate for a ball. Enright, the senior out of Santa Clarita, California, hitting .330 on the season. Does have some pop. Tends to be a streaky hitter. A little bit of feast or famine at times.
It's it looks like a screaming line drive in the books. Sometimes that just happened. That happened to be perfectly placed, like you said, in no man's land.
I think
Allie.
even if Hodge makes that catch right there, or not the catch, but like fields that cleanly,
Yep.
you're not throwing it.
There's
right
no
out.
throw there.
So a 2-out infield single by Allie Enright will bring up the SEC co-player of the week, freshman KK Dement. Dement had a very impressive weekend in Georgia. She's hitting .308 on the season, 8 home runs, had a grand slam in Athens last weekend.
You want to talk about a freshman that doesn't look like they're intimidated of the moment or playing like your typical freshman, although at this point every SEC freshman looks like a seasoned vet out there. KK Dement has just had a really, really nice season at the plate. She hit a little bit of a slump, but it happens, and now she's back.
Nice strong throw by Hodge on the ground ball to end the inning. But Donna, it was Mac Barbara who came up big.
I mean, she's going out there confident anyways, but man, does a 3-run lead feel really good to just kind of sit back and go, all right, we're in control.
Tori Edwards, the freshman, steps up. First at bat tonight for Edwards, who leads the team with 14 home runs. We highlighted her at the beginning of the broadcast. She's hitting .440, has just had an absolutely incredible year as she steps in against Texas A&M's All-American.
You know, her story's impressive just because last year, such a freak injury incident that she couldn't play last season. This year comes out and wastes no time putting the league on notice.
And when we talked to Coach Beth Torina before the game, she said it was almost a silver lining, you never want a player to get hurt, but she's not quite sure she was ready to have the kind of season, the kind of freshman season that she's having this year. And Coach Torina said, we have the best freshman in the country in Tori Edwards. Shot into right field, going back is Harper, it's off the wall. And Edwards slides in for a lead-off double for the Tigers. I think Harper was a little surprised that ball stayed in the ballpark, Donna.
Yeah, I think so too. Tori Edwards just drills that outside pitch exactly where it's supposed to go, right field. I thought that one was going to get out too. I think Amari Harper did, and was a little bit surprised that it came off the top of the wall, but
made a nice snag and got it in quickly. So a leadoff double. Let's see what the Tigers can do with a runner in scoring position. It's going to be Mackenzie Rudity up for LSU. Takes the first pitch for a strike. By the way, that was Tori's 11th double on the season. And that's good enough to I asked you in the last inning how Emily Kennedy would feel with a 3-run cushion. Obviously, that did not last very long, but I'm going to ask you the same question now with Sydney Burzon. How does it feel to come back out and all of a sudden your offense has given you the lead?
Well, now she's got to feel like the weight's been lifted a little bit. I mean, obviously, you're still going to be competitive out there, but there is something to be said when you have the lead. There's just a little bit less tension.
So LSU up 5-3 as we head to the bottom of the second. It's 8-9 and 1 up for Texas A&M. Grayson Coleman, the catcher, steps in. And if you had to pick one hitter in the lineup who is seeing, well, really, and it's not even one player, it's one position. It's that catcher position for Texas A&M where it's been a little bit of a revolving door, trying to see who sticks. And I think Trisha Ford is happy with them all defensively. It's a matter of who can hit their way into the lineup, and right now Coleman is the answer that they're looking for.
Yeah, I was just going to say, defensively, they've got 3 solid catchers behind the plate. It's just a matter of who's going to produce in the lineup, because when you've got a lineup as deep as Texas A&M on the bench, you need somebody at the catcher position, obviously, but you also want that bat to be effective.
Well, that's exactly what you need to do right there if you're Coleman. Get on base. She's able to do that with 4 straight pitches from Burzon. There's a look at head coach Trisha Ford. She is pacing right now, and I guarantee you she is trying to figure out what is going on with Emily Kennedy in the circle and how LSU was able to put together such an incredible last half inning.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a short memory in this one, and you got to shake that off. Georgia put up 4 runs in the bottom of the first when they were in Athens in game 2. And Tricia Ford talked about Kennedy Powell coming into the huddle and saying, Coach, don't worry, we got this. We'll score more than 4 runs. Now, LSU also a different challenge because, again, both of these teams are so similar and their execution level is just off the charts right now. But you have to have that similar mindset. Don't panic. You just have to chip away, and still it's 2 runs we're talking about.
Kramer Eshte, the 9-hole hitter, shows bunt, pulls back, but takes it for a strike. So after 4 straight balls to Coleman, Kramer Eshte down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Pops this one up. Hodge at shortstop makes the catch for out number 1. So 1 out for LSU. Pinch runner for Grayson Coleman over at first base is number 99, Kelsey Mathis. And if you're Burzon, you're upset that you walked the 8-hole hitter, especially Coleman hitting under 200, but you gotta be happy that you're able to get Eshte. Now you've got the top of the order to face. Kennedy Powell takes the first pitch after showing bunt. So a couple of these A&M hitters showing bunt, trying to see what they can get looks at from the LSU defense.
There you go.
Well, we talk about doing it different ways. Sometimes you just gotta try and find getting the momentum back, and whether that be dropping a bunt or stealing a base, whatever it may be, you're gonna try different things right now to kind of get the offense going again.
This time Powell's able to make contact, but fouls it back. So she will now have to battle with 2 strikes. 1 and 2 is the count. Powell flew out to center field in her first at-bat to start the ball game. Here's the 2-2. I don't know if it's control issues or if that's where she's wanting to go, but we've seen a couple of those balls get away from Burzon and just get a little bit too up in the zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a competitive rise ball. Her low stuff looks pretty good, but the rise ball.
This one's gonna go off of Edwards' glove at first. Mathis will try to get to third, slides in head first, and she is safe, and Powell takes second. And just like that, Texas A&M with 2 runners in scoring position.
Well, that's heads up base running by the Aggies. Again, capitalizing on those small moments. Kelsey Mathis heads up. That one stays in the infield, goes into shallow right foul territory, but Mathis getting to third, then drawing the throw, opens up Kennedy Powell getting to second, and now with 1 out, you set up second and third and one of the most consistent Aggie hitters at the plate.
Amari Harper steps in, takes the first pitch for a ball. And Donna, we talked about both of these teams, not necessarily a ton of stolen bases, but very good at base running and taking extra bases, which is exactly what we saw there from both Mathis and Powell to put themselves in scoring position. Harper was hit by a pitch in her first at-bat. She's hitting .463 on the season with 4 home runs. That is more than she had in her career leading up to this season.
She found a little juice this season.
This one lifted into center field. On her way back is Lassiter all the way to the warning track. She makes the catch, but Harper gets the job done with the sac fly as Mathis scores and Kennedy Powell moves to third.
That's a positive sign for the Aggies. If you're looking to just get back into this, again, a 2-run deficit, but chipping away, and Amari Harper driving that deep enough to left center field to easily score Mathis and get Kennedy Powell over to third base. The bubbles are flying here at Davis Diamond. I don't remember seeing them for the Mac Barbara home run, but that's maybe just because so many things were happening at once.
There was a lot going on during that home run. I was more worried about Anderson Garcia's amazing catch in right field. But yes, the bubbles are blowing at Davis Diamond as Beth Torina takes a timeout to come talk to her team. And I think right here, just what is your game plan? You've got Maya Perez, who obviously is one of the best hitters in this lineup up to bat. You have first base open, but guess who's on deck? Mac Barbara.
No, exactly, and I think that's why Torina went out to talk to Berzon and the infield. Just one, settle things down, and two, how do you approach the next two hitters who, for the Aggies, supply their biggest amount of pop?
So Texas A&M has put one up in this inning already. We're only in the second inning, folks. Score is 5-4, LSU with the 1-run lead. And now the officials, the umpires, are going to get together and have a conversation. We've got Brian Crochet, Matt Dial, and Michael Bartling on the call this weekend. And it looks like maybe Beth Torina asked a question. They had a quick conversation and gave a little shake of the head. So we are back to play.
Hard to tell what that was about. I honestly have no idea on that one.
2 outs, and Maya Perez steps up. Sophomore had a single in her first at-bat. Pretty pitch to start things off from Berzon on the outside part of the plate. Berzon went inside on Perez in that first at-bat, and Perez was able to get her hands out and rip it into right field, but Perez really is known for that opposite side power.
Yeah, and I think here, Berzon's gonna try, and she's throwing her off speed down in the zone, because again, with her ability to lift the ball easily out of the park, when she gets on one, you don't wanna have anything, I would say, knee higher.
That one left a little up in the zone. Perez takes a hack, but fouls it off into foul territory, and now the count is 1-2. Berzon threw that off speed to Maya in the first at bat. She didn't swing at it. It was called a ball, but it was close. We'll see if she decides to throw it again here. This one floats up in the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Perez. Perez, with runners in scoring position, is hitting .471 on the season. Leads the team with 55 RBI. This one hit well down the right field line, off the wall. Perez is gonna try for 2, and it's a 2-out double for Maya Perez, and just like that, we are all tied up.
So this is gonna be a fun one tonight, Chelsea, right? I mean, just feels like punches back and forth from both teams. Maya Perez gets this one right over the heart of the plate, low in the zone, but gets her hands extended. I think Maya thought that one was out of here.
Maya snuck out, yep. But does a nice job getting to second base, getting herself in scoring position, and now Mac Barbara steps in. She had a big 3-run home run in the first. You can only imagine that Sydney Berzon is going to be very careful with Barbara here, especially with first base open. It was Barbara's 6th of the season.
Well, and Chelsea, thanks to our friend Matt Simon, who sent me the TrackMan info on her home run in the first inning, 80 miles an hour off the bat. And I love exit velo a lot. And
that ball was, so for those of you who aren't, anything in the mid-70s is considered very, very well struck.
When you hit 80, that's another level.
You absolutely crushed that ball.
I'm not smart enough math-wise for the baseball equivalents, but I have heard think 115, 120 off the bat for baseball is what I've heard. I could be wrong.
Here's the 3-1 to Barbara, and that misses off the plate. So a bit of a intentional, unintentional situation right there, but Barbara is the 2nd walk of the day from Berzon.